Do Africans want to be like African Americans? The answer is yes.
Ooh, okay,
I was
okay.
going through.
Welcome back to Peapod Cove Life. And today we dive into a powerful conversation on diaspora dialogues. We're unpacking why some Black Americans might feel disconnected from African culture, how that differs from their connections with the West Indian communities, and the lasting impact of just calling someone the Africans for decades. Spoiler, it's not just semantics. It carries history, nuance, and even offensive to some people. So sit tight as we explore identity, respect, and the ties that bind or break us across continents. Now, we're having this conversation, and my job, my responsibility is to make it palatable for you to understand and digest. And I'm the middle guy, and hopefully I can get people to listen and respond, and let me know down in the comments, how do you feel about the Black diaspora wars that's going on? I mean, we need to start learning from this. Just don't come out and throw mud and just run back in the house. No, maybe you could sit down and have a meal. Just because you're enemies don't mean you can't work it out. And why are we arguing in the first place? A lot of times, just misunderstanding, most of the times. So the question was, does Africans want to be like Black Americans?
This is specimen one. This is the first example I found. I had to ask myself, why were we dressed like this? The only reason I could think of was because for the past how many years we had been watching 106 and Park. This is the influence.
Yeah, I hear that. 106 and Park. They're in South Africa. They're in Africa. And that's what was influencing them. Things that they see on American TV. So just remember that.
I know T.I. on the right.
That is T.I.
T.I., my boy. His name is Toby. That's why are we dressed like fake chains? But we did not give a fuck. We wanted to be like you guys. Many of us in this picture had never even stepped out of Nigeria before. But why are we dressed like this? So if any African ever comes to you telling you nonsense, just tell them to shut up, because this is the truth. We wanted to be like you guys. You guys are cooler. Don't be listening to anybody else. Thank you.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see how they came up watching American culture and absorbing it the same way. So it's not everyone. It's not everyone that hates Black Americans. I think it's just a few that is just upset for some reason. But I think we could sit down and figure out why. So now we're going to get into the meat and the goodies. So there's some triggering videos coming up. So we're going to take it and we're going to listen. We're going to listen. So let's do it.
It's wild how African Americans are upset at me for calling out the hater-ass energy they have towards Africans. Okay. You got people questioning my ethnicity in the comments, asking me where my family is from, asking me where I was born, automatically assuming that I'm either Caribbean or African. Like, no, I'm from the east side of Long Beach. I'm literally as Black American as a Black American can get. And I just find it funny and ironic how me advocating for Black people around the world all of a sudden means that I'm anti-Black American. Like, why are you trying to gatekeep skin color? Y'all will do whatever you can to try to debunk someone's Blackness in order to invalidate their experience as a Black person living and traveling in America, and to silence their voice when they're pointing out the degenerate behaviors that exist in the Black community. I'm the type of person that advocates for everybody. Now, all of a sudden, all the times that I stood up for African Americans mean nothing because I said, hey, stop hating on Tyler and we need to start respecting African people. Now, all of a sudden, I can't claim to be a Black American. What y'all don't realize is that people like me are always going to call out mistreatment and unfair behavior, even if it's coming from our own people, even if it's coming from the same group of people that we once stood up for. Because African people have been nothing but nice and welcoming towards us. So where is all this energy coming from, which African Americans have been very, very blatant and open about their disdain towards African people? Makes no sense. The way that y'all attacked me in these comments and advocating for African people, and calling out African Americans and their hater-ass energy that they have for African people is very telling to the type of people y'all really are. It's weird as fuck. And it really does expose the amount of self-hatred and bigotry that exists in the Black community in America. telling African people that they have no right to call out the degenerate behaviors and the things that they see wrong with the black community in America because they simply aren't born in America is one of the most intellectually dishonest things, is one of the most ignorant things that has ever came out of the black community since the foundation of this country. The fact that you guys will put more emphasis on the pain and struggles that divide Africans and African American people rather than emphasizing the skin color that brings us all together. Can't make this up. This is deeper than just that. This is a spiritual war. The enemy uses division in the black community to further block our collective progress. Can we as black people around the world make any type of progress if black people in America are fighting and envious and jealous of African people on the other side of the continent? The fact that African Americans cannot see how they're playing into the overall hand of the enemy by doing this and reinforcing these narratives is beyond me, because we should be the ones to recognize oppression and systematic racism faster than any other black person here on earth. If Satan and the enemy can continue to keep us fighting, hating each other, questioning each other, we will never move in the unity that God designed for us as black people here on earth, no matter what country or culture we come from. Because the Bible and God clearly states we are all one in Jesus Christ. Because division is man-made and God designed unity. Don't fall for the trap, y'all.
I think he covered everything right there. You know, I've been saying that I think we all need to get together and start listening. Because there's what's the whole point of fighting about? Like, that is what they want us to do, and that's what we have been doing for years, fighting against each other. What do? They have one of the guys beat all the other slaves, so you'll be mad at him instead of the master that wanted him slaves, you know, beaten. And we need to move on from a lot of this. Now, the brother there spoke a lot of honesty, but I'm just here bringing y'all the information. Let me know if y'all felt like he was telling the truth down there in the comments, because at some point something's gonna have to give, right? Now, this lady right here, this young lady, I want y'all to listen to her, and I know I'm a little older, but let me know if I'm wrong, because something just ain't right. And this goes back to what the brother was just talking about. You could kind of listen.
Wait a second. Are people really mad that we call Africans the Africans? Are y'all not African? And
that statement alone right there, is that not offensive? Like, this is why people always come at America for not being educated, because, man, now Africa has 54 countries inside of it. Africa is a continent, has 54 countries. So calling somebody the Africans, wouldn't you take offense to that as well? Let me know that in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna let her finish because it gets worse.
secondly, if you live in New York, if you're from New York, then you know that every time we go get our hair braided, we say we're going to the Africans. Who did you hear? The Africans. I'm going to 2/5 so the Africans can do my hair. Like, what? Now y'all changing everything that I've ever known about life. Like, what? It's not a problem. Y'all always trying to make something a problem. I'm tired of everybody being so sensitive. If you know, you know. And if there's an African in New York, y'all know too. We go to y'all the Africans, and y'all do our hair. It's not offensive. I'm tired. I'm tired. I've been saying I'm 32. No, I'm 33. And I've been saying that for 33 years.
Okay.
And it's never been a problem. I never had no African.
I don't mean to stop, but just because you're saying it for 33 years doesn't mean it's right. And if they keep saying or keep getting offended by it, why don't you ask them what they want to be called? Have that ever crossed your mind? Just because you say they're Africans and you call them Africans and they said, no, I'm not Africans. Have you ever listened to what they say they are? There's 55 different countries in Africa. You know?
Tell me it was a problem. I've had many conversations. Y'all make everything an issue in this world. And I'm sick of it.
Now, am I wrong for this lady right here? Because to me, her whole conversation is disrespectful. And instead of her listen to what the Africans are saying, she keeps calling them the Africans and then wonder why they're upset. Hey, you're the Africans. No, I'm not the African. I'm Nigerian. No, also, okay, so you're the Africans. He just said he's Nigerian or they're Kenyan. Like, listen to the country where they're from, not the continent. And I know some people like this exist because when I first came to this country, even recently, I'll tell somebody, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and they'll be like, oh, so you're Jamaican. No, bro, so I know the feeling. I get it too. But that doesn't make it right because you've been saying it for 30-something plus years. How about you learn and educate yourself on what you're dealing with? And the fact is, all they care about is getting their hair done, some of these people. They don't care who do it, they just call them nicknames, make a name up because it's comfortable for them. But then when they come back and say, no, that's not what, well, why all of a sudden y'all want to change shit? Why all of a sudden y'all want to, they never said they were called the Africans. Y'all called them the Africans. Like I said, we're going to go down the rabbit hole today. We're going to look, this clip is crazy. It says, this is why the African didn't want the FMA to delegate its wake up to the diaspora. Let's get it.
You sold us. I am a Jamaican, not an African. We were here with the Canadians. You got with witchcraft, voodoo, black magic. We believe in Jesus Christ, not dark ages. We are Jamaicans, not Africans. I'm not illegal. I have my status. What? I'm on the sidewalk. And what? I can speak. Peace, brother. Salam.
Well, as you can see, it's not just the Black Americans that don't like the Africans. This Jamaican guy, well, he seems like he's speaking for Jamaicans. Let me know down in the comments if the Jamaicans got an issue with Africans too. He also called them Africans. He didn't specify, but apparently there's some type of war going on. So let me know down in the comments because it seemed like they had a little something going there. Of course, you saw security pulled up. You know, he was speaking clearly. So the Caribbeans have entered the chat against the Africans. So how do we feel about the Caribbeans? That included me as well. I'm far down in the Caribbean. So I want to talk to the Black West Indian right now. Black West Indians, how do y'all feel about Black Africans in general, all of them, from Nigeria to Kenya, Ghana, Somalia, South Africa? Because, you know, we are connected to Africans as well, probably a little more than the Americans. And hopefully we'll get a little explanation here. But let me know down in the comments how we're feeling about that.
I watched the viral clip of that bald-headed African dude that was talking to that Haitian lady on his podcast about how Black Americans, you know, we're the only ones, we're the only people that don't have a culture, that don't have any value systems, any traditions,
they always bring it up.
Taboos, blah, blah, blah. And I've watched some different takes on this, but I actually have a little bit of a different take. Okay, so my microphone just went out. But anyways, I have a little bit of a different take because listening to that clip made me realize something about the way that Africans view culture and traditions when it comes to Black people. So the reason why Africans say stuff like Black Americans don't have culture, we don't know who we are, we don't know where we come from, is because our culture in America doesn't center Africa. Facts. So what I mean by that is, if you look at like the Caribbean and South America, a lot of their culture and traditions mimic cultures or mimic the things that are done culturally in Africa, in different parts of Africa. So they've taken a lot of that African tradition and incorporated it into their cultures down in the Caribbean and in South America. So that's why they're not going to tell them that they don't know who they are, they don't know where they came from, you know, they're lost. They're not going to say that to them because their culture, a lot of their culture resembles that different cultures in Africa. Whereas
now that is 100% true what she just said. Now, I believe once the slaves got to America, like if you watch the movie Roots, Kunta Kinte, you saw what happened. I think that when they got to America, they try to remove anything that they used to celebrate. When in America, they removed that from them. They tried to beat it out of them, got rid of any documents that brought them back to their old time. And it's what I think made the change happen so dramatically. Where in the Caribbean and most of the world, they didn't really do that too much. They still let them have their religions, and they still let them have certain things that was linked to where they came from in Africa. But she's explaining it amazingly, so let me let her finish.
Whereas in America, as Black Americans, most of our culture, especially not mainstream culture, does not resemble anything African. Our culture does not center Africa. I don't think that Africans can really wrap their head around the idea of a group of Black people who just came up, who came up with their own culture that's based off of their own experience and that has absolutely nothing to do with anywhere on the continent of Africa. So in their eyes, it's like, you guys must be lost because you don't center Africa in your culture. You don't center Africa in the things that you do. Nothing that you do resembles African, anything in Africa. You don't resemble. We can't draw any parallels between what you guys are doing in America into Africa.
True.
I mean, even if we're just talking about lifestyles, like when you look at Haiti and Nigeria, you're not going to really see too much difference between a city in Haiti and a city in Nigeria. It's still full of scrap metal housing made out of shipping containers. There's extreme poverty in both of those areas, and they really kind of mirror each other in a lot of ways. And even in Jamaica, like certain parts of Jamaica could look similar to somewhere in Ghana or somewhere. So I feel like they have more of like that connection. Like, so I really feel like Africans look at Caribbeans and they see a lot of themselves in the lifestyles of the people there, but they don't see the reflection of themselves in us. And I think that they look at that as like, somehow we are lost, or we don't have any pride, or because we don't feel connected to Africa. So if we're Black and we don't feel connected to Africa, that means that there's something wrong with us, and that means that we're lost. You know, they say that Black Americans have main character syndrome and we're self-centered, but yet the way that they view culture, and the reason why they tell us that we don't know who we are, and we don't have a culture, or we don't have traditions, or we don't, we're just lost, is because our culture doesn't resemble theirs. Our culture doesn't center Africa, but somehow we're the main character. But aside from all of that, I don't feel like anybody has the right to tell somebody else that they don't have a culture. You don't have a right to speak on another group of people's lifestyle. Like, you just, and the lady that he was sitting across from, honestly, I just don't think that her elevator goes to the top floor. I don't think that she has the mental bandwidth to engage in a conversation like that. But I feel like a lot of times they pick people like that specifically that they know won't really have no pushback, that don't have the mental capacity to go back and forth with them and actually educate them. Because apparently she did not. She just sat there looking like boo-boo the fool and had no rebuttals at all. So, but anyways, that's my take.
Now, when it comes to the African-Caribbean connection, during the Atlantic slave trade, about 4 million Africans were transported to the Caribbean. These communities retain and adopt African spiritual culture, tradition, and that's kind of what we talked about. A lot of it was able to maintain. If you were like a bad person at some of these places, they will resell you and move you to the United States out of the Caribbean. But they all went through the Caribbean into the US. But I need us to really start listening to each other. Even if it might make us upset, the truth might hurt and sting, but you'll know. And the one thing about that lady, she was just talking about the lady that, just came out her mouth saying some things. It's actually sparked this conversation because people have been thinking it. A lot of people have been thinking it, but sometimes People are afraid to say it. So sometimes it may come out of the ignorant person, but because it was so ignorant, it sparked a real conversation about Africans, about Black Americans, about Africans don't want to be called Africans because at the end of the day, they're not. It's 55 countries in Africa. Find out what country they're from before you say Africans. It's real simple, people. Come on. We got to respect the people that are around us. And if you lead a conversation like that, and then you don't change, of course, they're going to be upset. Right.
Of course, I told everybody I was Jamaican when I was younger. I'm African. Yo, wagwan.
If you know, you know.
Of course, I love Gucci. I'm African. Of course, I'm always looking for a discount. I'm African. Excuse me, sir. Where's your clearance section?
Unfortunately, my clearance never goes on sale.
Can I get a... Wait a minute. I'm African. I have food at home.
Now, the reason why I really wanted to show you that is because she's African. She's the one that said it. She said it. She didn't say, oh, I'm Nigerian or I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Am I wrong? Like, some people call themselves Africans and some people don't want to be called themselves Africans. Let me know that in the comments. What do you want to be called? Because she just made a whole video on it. Like I said, we're going to go in real deep today, and I'm going to let everybody have a say. Everybody's going to have their say. And this one is how I really feel about Black Americans as a African woman. Here it is again, her title. She didn't say as a Nigerian woman. She didn't say as a Somalian. She says as an African. Hey, the proof's in the pudding. I'm just saying.
As an African woman living in the United States, I have never experienced prejudice from Black Americans or African Americans, however you call yourself. Never. I came to this country and I was embraced and welcomed by them. They love me. I love them back. Like, I found my people, for real. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I found my people because they're really open-minded compared to Africans. And I've always been a very open-minded person, like very, very open-minded person. And I just feel like I didn't fit there. I didn't fit with y'all Africans. I love us though.
Hear what she said? She don't fit with the Africans, but she's African. She says it herself. So, is it okay to call them Africans? I need to know, because now I'm confused. Because this is second African that's identifying themselves as Africans. Right? So,
I love it so much. Like, I love my roots. I love where I come from. But I can just with y'all to a certain extent, because certain conversations I can't have with y'all because y'all too prejudiced about things. You know what I mean? Y'all not open-minded enough for me, at least. But y'all come here in the United States with preconceived notions already. All y'all have to say about Black people in America is they're ghetto, they're this, they're that. Yeah, they might be a little ghetto, just like y'all a little ghetto over there too. Y'all need to stop acting like there's no ghetto people over there. There are ghetto people in Africa. There are ghetto people, African ghetto people in Europe as well. I come from Europe. I was born and raised in Europe. There are ghetto people all around the world.
Yes, girl. Yes. Listen, I'm going to say something I might get hit with, but I'm going to say it. Because I'm honest. I'm going to say it. Wherever we got Black people living in this world, there's a ghetto somewhere close by. Now, yes, I could say that. If I'm wrong, let me know the city, the place where there is no ghetto around. Let me know. Let me know down in the comments, because maybe it's time for your cousins to come visit. I want to know. Let us know what city around the world where there's not a lot of Black people live and doesn't have a ghetto, because we got to go with what she said, right? Now, I'm not here to chastise anybody on anything, but she keep referring to the Black people living in the continent of Africa as Africans, all of them, One name. She's an African. She said she was. So the other lady that talked about it, where Africans were getting upset because of the whole Braden situation, they don't want to be called Africans. Now, that woman didn't seem like a young kid. She seemed very like a older person. So let me know. I want to know.
People make a lot of assumptions about Black people in America. A lot of assumptions. And one of the assumptions that's frequently made is that we, Black people in America, are not proud of our history, the origins of our history, our ancestors, and where they came from. That could not be further from the truth. Here is my truth. I choose Black. I choose it. I love the way it fucking rolls off my tongue. I am a Black woman. I choose.
I feel you on that, sister. I love the way that roll off my tongue too, and I'm proud of it. Sometimes I'm happy when I'm the darkest person in the room. Like, honestly, I love my Blackness, and I stand on that shit 100% all the time. You ain't never gonna catch me trying to bleach my skin. Living in America, I hate the fact that I get lighter during the winter years. When I go back to Tobago and I get dark, man, I feel so good. I ain't gonna lie.
This label for me. I feel a connection to my ancestors, to Black people on the diaspora. I believe in one Black love.
Facts.
One Black love. But what I will not do is cherry pick my history. Because every single part of my history, no matter if it was great, it was good, or if it was struggle, every part of it brought me to this point right here, right now, sitting here, talking to you. And this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So while people can make assumptions about my pride and where I come from, unless you ask me, you will never know. So ask me, and I'll tell you. But do not assume anything about me or the next Black man, because too many people make assumptions about us already, and those assumptions that they make usually are to our detriment. Allow us.
And that's facts. Go back to the young lady with the African situation. You know, you just, if somebody feel like they don't want to be called something, just ask them, what do they want to be called? Don't just keep saying it because you hear other people saying it, because a word that you can call me, you might not be able to call my friend. And we all know how that is. You know what I'm saying? He might be okay with it, but I'm going to knock your ass out. So learn the people around you. Be respectful.
It's an opportunity to be. Allow us an opportunity to exist, to love ourselves and our brothers and sisters. Because this life that we're given is all we've got right now. And I plan on making the fucking most of it. If I don't do anything else with this Black life of mine, I am going to make sure that the young Black girls, young Black boys coming up behind me see at least one less struggle than I did. And I'm going to do it with pride. I am my ancestors, and I'm proud of it.
One thing I could say about living in America as a West Indian Black American, because I came here and I was 10 years old from the West Indies, and it's a lot different. I'm going to be honest with you. But the one thing I learned was when I went to school, I went to an all-Black school with a lot of Black Americans. There was a few West Indians moved in, but when I first came here back in the 80s, there weren't very many West Indians where I lived. But the one thing I learned very quickly was that whenever you were in a classroom where a Black teacher was in charge, whether it was teaching, it was gym, it was Black history was always taught at some point. Now, sometimes they taught you about African history, a lot of American history, because what the African people fail to realize during these diaspora wars, that once the people left Africa and they came to the United States, they went through their own struggle in order to gain their own freedom. Like that took years and years. So during that time, the struggle was like, listen, I'm the one here enslaved trying to get out. You know what I mean? So we talking about 400 years have gone by. That's not really a lot of time, but it's a lot of time. And in that time, the struggle was real. And where Americans, Black Americans are today is kind of what helped the rest of the world when it comes to the way, I shouldn't say the way, but the way Black Americans have moved forward and the things they're able to do, which is transcended around the world. You know, a lot of other places are catching up to what Black Americans were able to accomplish. And I feel personally like we all could learn from each other. No one is trying to say, well, there is people trying to say they're better than you. But the whole culture thing, I think the woman was right about the whole culture thing, because it's the same thing for me in the islands. We have things that still links us to Africa with some of the music, the celebrations they have there. And to be honest, America have those celebrations too. We witness the situation with the Essence Fest and things like that, where Black Americans are still trying to pay homage to things in Africa. And instead of the Africans, because I can say that because every African person that came in today say they're Africans. They didn't say who. But what I'm gonna say is, instead of them coming back and says, hey, we really appreciate that you're celebrating us, but these are some things you can fix. But instead, y'all just throw mud over there and talking about, oh, y'all disdaining us, y'all doing that. Why y'all doing that? Y'all should be happy that there's people over here that still care about Africa. Because to be honest with you, if you're a Black American, you really ain't got no connection to Africa. But memories, that's it. You got old memories and things written that say you came from there. But if you look at the struggles that you went through in America as a Black American, that don't link to Africa anymore. It doesn't. But listen, this is Diaspora Wars at the top. And I think that we should all be learning from these wars. You just don't come out, spill your yap, and then walk in the house. No. If you're going to come out the house to yell at me, stand on the porch and hear what I got to say too. It's a two-way conversation. And we want to change. We have to listen to each other and try to make compromise. We all need each other in this world, because as far as I know, the Africans are the best hair braiders. And what do we as Black people love? We love to get our hair braided. So y'all need to meet in the middle and figure that stuff out. Like, what are we fighting for? Do you want to get your hair braided? You like to braid hair. Now you could go to somebody else. You know, I know the Dominicans are good at it. And I could say Dominica is actually a country, people. Learn your geography. Learn your geography. And I'm going to leave it there, man. I need y'all to let me know down in the comments how y'all feel about this situation. This is Peapod Cove Life. And life situations is why we end up here. And remember, everybody's shoes got different wears and tears on it, and you will not know what that wear and tear was. So understand, the road is different for everyone. Peapod Cove Life, y'all. I know I said it again, but I love y'all. I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace out. Have a good day.